Yeah, and what was the one I was thinking of? Oh yeah. So back to what Jeff was saying about the Georgia Tech Miami game and Mario. This is not the first time Mario did this dumb shit. This happened in 2018 when he was at Oregon versus Stanford. Exact same scenario.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you
2018.
think you'd only fucking do that once in your life.
This is like, I mean, you could compare this to Mike Loxley, James Franklin level kind of game management blunders, right?
Or hardball punting against Michigan State and getting it blocked.
Yeah, I hope he eventually learned from that.
But yeah, I've never seen hardball make that mistake again. That was shocking when it happened. But yeah,
right.
It's like they're playing. They're like there's something else in their mind except just winning the game. Simply,
The thing is,
like there's ulterior. There's other thoughts.
The thing is, he might have some. You don't know what's going on in his head. He's got to. You got to have people in your ear up in the booth that are like they know every scenario on the clock. And they're telling you and feeding that in. Maybe he thought, hey, we need another first down. I don't know.
No, they didn't. It was like 30 seconds. There's one play clock. There's one play clock they could burn by taking a knee. Game over.
Right. That's right. There was 26 seconds left when they got the ball back. I think on the clock, wasn't it? Or was it 30?
It was like 30-ish.
Like I said, Shawn, I was bobbing on the couch. I was head bobbing in and out right at the end of that game.
I wasn't watching it.
Missed the actual fumble.
It came across. Again, I was intrigued, pulling for Arizona.
Oh, sure. Yeah. These people are going to start falling by the wayside. I'm rooting for them. Louisville, I was a huge Cardinal fan last night.
Why?
Just to see
we need Notre Dame to win, man.
I know, but I don't know. I just like seeing the favorites lose, I guess. I don't know. I mean, you're right.
We should have Notre Dame.
I know Notre Dame should finish with one loss and we should get more credit. But we're at a level, Joe. It doesn't really matter for us.
And
what the
can we say that maybe Marcus Freeman is not a good head coach yet, or is it too soon, or is that offensive now? Because
too soon.
I've been saying this since he got the job. I've been asking this question. How do we know he's a good head coach?
We don't. The kids love him. That's what we know.
He wasn't even calling the defenses at Cincinnati, man. It was fickle.
Okay, but he just took
was like
Ohio
Heartline in the
into
offense.
deep water, and we had to win on the last play. I mean, I'm not offended by you asking it, but I think the jury's still out. I haven't given up on Marcus Freeman. I think he's got a fine career. I think he's got a fine career ahead of him
as a head coach of a power, like a top-notch, top 5 school.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think obviously he's learning on the job. He's a young guy, kind of baptism by fire, Notre Dame gig. But
that's the thing, Shawn. What if he has a couple sub 500 seasons in a row? Then he's going to be
not even that, Jeff. What if?
You know what I mean?
So they lost 4 games last year. Went to a bowl game, barely beat South Carolina. So what are the expectations for Notre Dame? Because they think, as a fan base, they think they're a top 5 team every year, regardless of what their team looks like. But they lost 4 games last year.
He's selling that to them too. So if you're selling that to your program, like we are, top of the top, competing for national titles.
10 wins plus.
If you keep saying that, if you keep telling that, and then you're falling that far short, yeah, that's a big problem. If he keeps, there's a way to slow play it. Like, we're building. We got to get the foundation.
I think it becomes a selling point to the NIL deals and stuff. It's like, hey, yeah, we need some dudes.
Those massive NIL companies in South Bend.
Oh, but I'm pretty sure they got. If they can dip into that Vatican loot, then the coffers are endless.
Well, that's the thing. The schools can't pay them directly.
Yeah, I'd like to see how they're checking
I
up
am
on that too.
questioning
That's a whole
Marcus
nother can of
Freeman
worms.
as a head coach. Excellent defensive coordinator, supposedly, but maybe he needs to
4
go
years,
through.
right?
Maybe he needs to go through some, growing pains at a directional Michigan school.
Why? Because I mean, what do you base this on? He lost to Ohio State and basically gave us everything we wanted.
Well, last year,
and then,
Shawn, he lost to Ohio State, Marshall, Stanford, and USC.
in his first year coaching. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He has
I mean,
2
the
losses
kids
now.
are up, you suck, you're done, you're not going to be no good. And then again, I think the guy's shown. I think he's going to be a head coach for a long time.
I think what will help mask maybe some of his inefficiencies is talent that he'll be able to bring in. You know what I mean? He's going to do great in the living rooms. He can get just about in any room.
I mean, if he doesn't live up to the Notre Dame standard, I mean, I'm not saying I couldn't see him getting bounced out of there in a couple years, and then you're down to some other, a step down, and then build your rep back up and hopefully get back up to a Big Ten program.
And Joe, and if you say it out loud in public, you got to be careful your tone, because people will pull the race card. You wouldn't get it. Ryan Day has lost to Michigan twice, and people aren't a young white coach or whatever. I'm just what I mean. That's how.
No,
the media,
way too many are.
I'm sure the media is real careful to pick on him, or to call him out because he's a young black coach versus a young young white coach.
Well, Ryan Day's on the hot seat if you ask some Buckeye fans this just today. Seriously, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
The Buckeye Dooners.
Yeah, we got to keep them people off of public access.
No, I think
Twitter and all that shit.
I feel like there's been a strong contingent of that ever since they lost to Michigan last year. I don't think
they rear their ugly heads in these moments where things don't go exactly as they should, where Ohio State dominates for 60 minutes. So this is one of those weeks where,
hey,
no comeback, no come from behind win against a Power 5 team, right? So,
yeah,
how these things work. The loudest ones are the smallest, group of people, but they always chirp when maybe the first half of a game doesn't go according to plan and things don't look great. But what other national games do you guys want to touch on before we get into the Buckeyes?
Oklahoma, Texas. I think Quinn Ewers lost his Heisman bid.
Yeah, definitely.
And Dylan Gabriel took some of it.
Well, I don't think he's a Heisman candidate, but
he's got odds. He's got top 5 odds now after that game. I mean, I was looking on TV. They put up the numbers after it at the end of the day. He moved into that, I think, top 6. Like, he's like the 6th most favored.
Mm-hmm. But what do they got left? Obviously, a Big 12 schedule is pretty easy. Let's see if they can go undefeated from here on.
Well, they'll probably have Texas again in the championship.
Right, exactly. So
yeah, because they're not non-division. Yeah, so they're going top 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not really. I mean, if are you going to touch on Notre Dame, Louisville? Wait, and bring up.
I thought we did.
Well, I mean, okay. Are we live?
I went pretty hard on their coach.
Well, right. I mean, I didn't know if we were live yet.
Oh yeah, we've been live.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome.
Getting smoked by Louisville by 13 is embarrassing to me. But then you got Alabama barely skating by A&M, who isn't ranked. But hey, maybe they'll be ranked after this week, right? Quality loss to an SEC team, right? We see that every week.
Maryland should
Their
have
other
been
loss to
ranked.
Miami. Their other loss to Miami, and Miami losing the way they did doesn't help the case either. But SEC, they'll get votes for sure.
LSU beats Missouri by 10. So both those teams will continue to be ranked. I love it. I love it.
I tell you what, I think Maryland should crack the top 25. I think Maryland
They should have been
a pretty good team.
They should have been there already.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. I made that point yesterday. Yes, I think they should have been, before this game started, but I don't think they showed. I think they showed more yesterday, losing by 20. That first half alone, if people are just kind of skimming through, they're seeing scores at halftime and stuff, and they look like the better team in the first half. Honestly,
Well, I would cue up the Benny Hill music for the Ohio State offense in the first half. I can't play the real music because
Yakety sax, is that what that
likes
is?
to go after me. YouTube and I are on a non-speaking basis, so we don't like each other right now. But yes,
Okay.
Yakety sax. I would play it, so I can only do it from my mouth. Anyway, that was one of the worst halves of Ohio State football, but we've seen this before. This is not a new thing
This year.
right? Where the guys sleepwalk through the first half. You got a snapper that duffs one back to the fucking punter, that an up back has to take and try and make some magic out of nothing, and
that wasn't a fake, right?
That sets up a 30-yard drive for a touchdown. No, it wasn't a fake.
That's got to be a fake. Who fucks that up that bad?
He duffed it, like you on the first tee, Shawn.
Nah.
Yeah,
Breakfast
it's
ball.
not a fake. They
Breakfast
asked
ball.
Ryan Day after the fucking game. It's not a fake. And
And I hope
nobody
the guy
else
came
was
clean.
blocking
It was
for a
unfair.
fake. You could, if you look at how they blocked it up, it was just normal punt block.
Yeah, they're trying to hit the pads and get going, try to coverage, right?
He fucking snubbed, I don't know, muffed it, whatever you want to say, worm burned it.
And that's before the rain came and stuff too, right? I mean,
That was
coming off a bye.
I don't know. I'd like some lie detector on that stuff. That's wild that wasn't. I never seen it.
I actually
He snapped it to the up back.
No, it went that direction because he muffed it. It stuck to the turf. Apparently, is what
hit the
what
turf
they said.
on
It stuck on the turf.
It's follow through. Yeah, it's follow through back.
It's not
swinging his arms
natural
through,
grass
it's
or whatever. Anyway, doesn't matter. I actually would have expected a special teams fake at some point because that's what we do to Maryland, especially when we want to rub their nose in it. But that was not it. And especially in the first quarter, I don't remember the distance. It's like, what, 4th and 2, 3, 4, whatever it was. You're not going to snap it to Cody Simon, a linebacker, for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, doesn't matter. We're not going to dwell on that. So I guess we're done with national games. Michigan rolls 52-10. Nothing to see here. Just keep moving.
Didn't even bother to look at that score. Did not even bother. I knew it was going to be stupid.
I did. I was hopeful, and then right out of the gate, that stud corner they gets a pick six. The second play of the game or something. I'm like, God, boy.
I think they had two of them.
Be bad. Did he?
They had two pick. No, not that guy, but they had two pick sixes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Keon Sab must be a backup. Never heard of him.
So Joe, is Tyvus busy tonight? We couldn't get him to open the show.
I can fire up Tyvus. Let me rouse him out of the slumber.
Yeah, let's hit him up. I know he's a busy man. He's Big Ten Network and all, but
that guy's working. But
good for him. Good for him.
He has some time for us.
Hi, my name is Tyvus Powell, former Ohio State Buckeye and national champion DB. Welcome to the Buckeye Cast. These guys was born and bred in the Buckeye State, and they like to talk Buckeye football and drink bourbon. Subscribe to the show. Now pour up a drink and pull up a stool. Here's your host, Joe Warwick. Get him, Joe.
All right, Tyvis, starting it off right.
That never
Okay,
gets old.
boys. No, it doesn't. It brings the energy. And then you got Kentucky rolling 51-13 over, Georgia rolling over Kentucky 51-13. Kentucky's obviously not that good, but hey, they're ranked because they're in the SEC. Am I right?
It's another 8-4
Georgia's
Kentucky
getting
team.
better again. That quarterback of theirs, I think he's better than the last
That was
one.
another game. I glanced at the score at halftime and was like, nah, don't even need to don't even bother, and didn't look at one play of that game.
Yeah, Kentucky doing Kentucky things, They'll probably make a bowl game. So
Yeah, 8-4 Kentucky, man. That's 8-4.
Stoops
Stoops
gets
will stay
that.
there.
He injects another raise every time he wins 8 games. So never leaving.
I mean the SEC. But like they're middle of the road, just like our. We have a lot of middle of the road guys. The bottom of the Big Ten is as bad as any conference's bottom. I feel.
Yeah.
So but yeah, you got Vanderbilt, Kentucky, South Carolina, Missouri. Missouri's was undefeated going into the shootout with LSU, but our bottom is real low, and it's a huge gap. I think Maryland probably is the 4th best team in the Big Ten. I wouldn't
disagree with that. I feel like you look at their body of work till Michigan, and Michigan gets number 2. I know they've got more things returning, and that's how you'd rank them. But Michigan ain't beat anybody, neither did Maryland, but they're both undefeated, and they couldn't crack the top 25. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And even on paper, like the eye test, it's like, no, they're beating everybody by 20. It's not like they're squeaking by.
And they don't look like just.
I'll tell you what, good luck Penn State and Michigan, because that's a sneaky fucking game right there. That Penn State.
I think Penn State's legit. I don't think that's sneaky at all.
What's that?
I think Penn State's legit. I don't think they're a sneaky opponent at all.
No, I'm saying Penn State and Michigan should worry about Maryland. Maryland catch fire, and
Maryland's got Penn State at home, and I think they're on the road at Michigan, I believe. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what Maryland, how those games go with those 2 teams, and just comparative to ours.
Let's see, they got Penn State at home and then Michigan at home. Yeah,
they got them both at home.
This Maryland team looked like the same Maryland team. I don't think they've changed one bit, man. Talia's gonna turn it over. You're lucky if he only does it once, but he did it twice, and that's not a surprise. And then Loxley is going to make some boneheaded coaching decisions, like the end of the first half, and you can blame, part of that on Talia as well. A 6-year fucking quarterback doesn't know that you can't throw it short of the sticks with 6 seconds left.
Yeah, that was nice to see. It was nice to see that. It was nice to see like some poor execution, because I saw a bunch of it on our end that half. It was nice to see
the walk-off half.
Yeah,
it actually gave us a little momentum. On defense, at least, if nothing else. But
yeah, they got defense felt good about getting a stop. Yeah,
right. That was big because they were inside the red zone.
I think overall,
this Maryland team has not changed one bit to me, honestly.
Well, I think I don't know. They shut our run game down.
That looked a lot like
I think
Indiana.
We shut our own run game down with the play of our O-line.
No, but that's it
all boils down to that, right?
Maryland. Usually we would just run for 250 yards on Maryland, and we ran for 60-something yards on Maryland. Well, that's a big difference in old Maryland.
The first game against Indiana, when our linemen were not getting off they're double teams and getting up to the linebackers, and the linebackers were just shooting gaps, it looked the exact same. I mean, I know Maryland doesn't have a bunch of pros at linebacker, neither does Indiana, but they both look like, stud defenses, run defenses, because our O-line has in major issues. I'm surprised we didn't see any other players getting playing time, with that first team, like getting guys replaced and coming in. I was surprised when we stayed with the same five, which also worries me, because maybe they don't have confidence in anybody else after those five, which is maddening to me.
Well, the thing is, if you start benching dudes, then you got to get that unit of five guys back together, and working as a new unit, basically. So if you start benching guys this week, say you bench a Josh Simmons or Carson Hinsman or whoever it might be this week in practice, and you bring in somebody else, doesn't matter how experienced he is or how long he's been on the team, you still have to have that unit working together. And now you've got a whole new combination, right?
Well,
right,
that's what I had said going into the bye week, where I thought that was going to be a great week. You got all this extra time to evaluate. I thought the body of work was there for that O-line already, that you should have made some changes. And I would have expected it coming into this game. Now, maybe they did do some of that, but nobody's quite there, like you said, Jeff. And that is maddening. Where do you go from that performance? And is that just what we live with? And part of it, I will say, especially on the sacks, McCord, you got to get rid of it sometimes, man. You're holding on to it too long, and some of that's on him.
And there was examples of everything, just about everything possibly could have went wrong. There was small examples. There were some horrible play calls that even I said, the only thing we can't do is this. And then they did exactly what I thought they couldn't do. And it worked about as well as I thought it would. You're running wide side into the boundary. We don't have the perimeter blocking that you need. Our O-line. I think our O-line is going to limit what we can do. We got to be able to run the ball against good teams later in the year. And right now, what are we gonna do when we get up to the Wisconsin? Maybe it's 40 degrees and we got a 10-point lead and we got to run the ball and eat clock. Yeah. What are we gonna do?
Well, here's the thing. What
Penn
changed?
State, Michigan,
I was pissed off, so I went back and looked at it. And actually, on Travion's first three runs, I don't know if that was just the first two drives or the first three, but his first three runs went for 8 yards, 6 yards, and 8 yards. And that's kicking ass right out of the gate. And then, then you just couldn't rely on him.
You're talking about training. You're talking about Yeah. We went away from him, and then it also took a whole half to figure out that we can throw the ball to Marvin Harrison now. Like, first couple of runs, Chip was running. I'm like, pound Chip, pound him. Let Mayan kind of work in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then we hit a wall. We stuttered 3 and outs, and I'm like, we're not throwing the ball to Marvin. And then as soon as we started throwing the ball to him, well, shit. Well, look what happens. He catches everything that goes to him, almost.
But then we still can't run. How is that?
O-line, man. It's the O-line. It's not on Chip. It's not on the running backs. Yeah. That O-line was straight up garbage. I was looking at the grades here earlier today. I was getting ready for the tomorrow's daily blitz. The run blocking grades are putrid, like fucking puke in your mouth, kind of putrid. Maybe puke into a toilet. It's so bad. As a team, the Buckeyes graded out at a 59. 60 is average, like just average. Run blocking was a 59 as a team. Pass blocking was a 67.9. And so
if 60 is average, I would have thought a run blocking would have been like a 42. From what I felt.
The problem is we have guys that are so inconsistent. Matthew Jones is a perfect example. 5th-year guy, right? Been on the team forever.
Most experience, most starts. Yeah, most snaps, everything.
He graded out an 85 in run blocking. Awesome. That's excellent. But then you come back
What we
and
expected.
you look at the pass blocking, he's one of the worst at a 49. It's like, what is happening? You got this like Jekyll and Hyde scenario going on with these guys. Donovan Jackson, excellent at pass blocking with the 73-3. Maybe not excellent, good.
Presumed
good,
All-American.
not great.
Presumed All-American, right? I mean,
Right.
expected.
5-star talent.
Yeah.
But then run blocking, he's a 63. So it's like, you don't know what the fuck you're getting from these 5. Carson Hinsman, 59 in run blocking. 67-8 in pass blocking.
And these aren't first, second round picks. They're playing across from either Western Kentucky, Maryland,
Right.
Indiana.
Well, that's just today's grades. I mean,
I know.
yesterday's
I'm
grades,
saying.
but it's fucking baffling. Like, I can't imagine being Justin Fry. Like, what do you do? Because these guys are good at one thing one day, good at the other thing the other day, and then it changes every week. Though it's not consistent.
At what
It's-
point does everyone start sucking off Fry and saying, why aren't these guys any good?
I don't know.
Because everyone loves
question
Fry.
was,
What
kind of
loves Fry,
indictment
it
is
seems.
this on him?
And I don't even follow him that close to know, but it seems like he's well liked. Everyone loves him. Huge part of everything. And his position group is an absolute mess. So what's going on? What's he saying about it?
I don't know. I don't have his number.
Wow.
But he's not talking. He's not the one that's been having answered those questions yet. But like, we obviously, like, everybody would say we upgraded, Coach Day was quick to get Justin Fry, out of there and bring him in as the associate offensive coordinator, whatever, associate head coach, or he had some other big title, run game coordinator, all that.
Yeah.
Because he's very well resumed, and came from Chip Kelly and whatever. But this is his now 3rd year or 2nd year.
He's only been on the job for a year and a half.
So year and a half. Okay, so it's his 2nd season. Are we still giving him the pass because of Coach Stud's lack of recruiting and filling that room with depth? I mean,
I think
this is
that's
the last year.
the depth part is definitely not his fault. I would say the coaching up, I don't know. Can you coach up garbage?
Well,
they went to
the left
portal,
tackle,
got Simmons.
we went and got.
Well, they brought in Simmons. They know what they were
That's my
getting.
point. That's my point.
And
And then they went in and got Vic Cutler, the center, in the portal. He's not seeing any snaps at all. Right?
No,
So
outside of
I
second
don't know what
team,
to say.
we've seen nobody. Coming in. Not even Luke Montgomery. I mean, nobody's subbed in any of those positions. Nope.
But the thing is,
at some point, one of them's going to
we're-
go with some health injury or some.
We're
some
1
health
week
issues,
away
so.
from playing Penn State. So are you going to start fucking benching guys now and
Well-
hope that it works out for Penn State? I don't think you can do that.
No, you can't. No, you can't. At
They've
this point.
said, Day and Fry in the last month have said, we're going through these issues on the O-line. And we feel like the guys we have can get it done. It's just a matter of them getting it done. The guys are not incapable of doing the job physically. All right. Whether it's, size, speed, whatever is required of their job, they're capable, according to Day and Fry, of getting it done, but they are not. And we've seen regression from Donovan Jackson and Matt Jones in certain areas. Right.
I feel that way. And
So
that's
I don't
not
know
good.
if it's scheme, coaching, or the player. That's always the 3 that they say, right? Whenever there's an issue at a position, it's scheme, coaching, or the player.
Coaching
And
/
the
development.
coaches
how
are never
you
going to
develop
say
him.
it's a player unless they bench a guy. Like, they're never going to come out and say this player sucks. But they will bench a guy in lieu.
I mean,
of saying,
after last year, Donovan Jackson if he were eligible to be drafted, he had to been, top 3 round draft pick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was when people talked about High State possibly having 5 first round draft picks, he's one of them.
Yeah.
I heard people,
I don't know what
when they were.
happened. And Matt Jones could have entered the draft. He would have been a later round guy or a free agent, but still, like, he seems to have regressed, especially in those grades I just gave you. I don't know how you're so good at one thing, like pass blocking versus run blocking. It's just mind-boggling.
I wonder if it would ever catch on to bring in, guys, situational guys. Like if you have a bunch of guys that are liabilities and pass blocking, and it's third and 7
Switch
or
out.
more.
Switch them out.
You bring it, you bring in you pull the guards and you bring in 2 more tackles basically.
Right.
And put
Well, I mean,
put in
how
packages
easy would
like
that be to scout us, though? I mean, how easy would that be to game plan against us?
Yeah, but I mean,
that would be pretty obvious.
They're bringing in the run team. They're bringing out the pass team's coming back out.
But it's already obvious that you're in a passing situation. I mean, and again, maybe it's whatever. Maybe it's 3rd and 12. But it's
In those cases, yeah. If you have a guy that's great at pass blocking and the guy starting that's not, and I don't know, but yeah, you're right. I mean, but you get into that, like Joe was saying, you got to have that unit kind of knowing each other, bringing like a sub and a guy in and out, like consistently through a game. That's got to be tough.
you getting your 2-minute offense. You bring in your fucking all tackle O-line.
But then you're fucking with the cohesion of the group again.
Who's to say that we have 2 more tackles we could bring in if they're not playing Luke Montgomery or Shabola yet? It's not like
what I'm saying is
I doubt that if those guys were pushing them enough, in practice,
10% better. If Shabola and Montgomery are 10% better at pass blocking than the guards or something, then I'm saying when you get into a 2-minute offense or something, and you got to try to run down the field, and everyone on the planet knows you're gonna pass it all the way down there, and you can still run with these guys, right? It's not like it's total. It's not like they're not there playing. But I think maybe situational. I mean, you never see it. There must be a good reason, but I almost think it's evolving to that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be shocked to see them make drastic changes like that. What's funny is when I look at these grades overall, game by game, run blocking, we started off a 57-5 against Indiana, a 76 against Youngstown State, an 82-5 against Western Kentucky, then a 73-2 against Notre Dame, and then a 69 against Maryland. Then pass blocking. You look at that, 78-8 against Indiana, 86-7 against Youngstown State, 80 against Western Kentucky, then a 43-9 against Notre Dame, pass blocking, and then Maryland is 67-9. It's a massive fluctuation in grades, week to week to week. Like I said, I think I said it in the instant reaction today. I said, sorry, just got a text from Jeff. I think we've regressed like 2 steps backwards as far as the O-line goes. We almost look like we looked in week 1, but we made steps over the last 4 weeks. Now we took, a major couple steps back. Let me pop into the chat. Chat is lively. Oh, Cassie, are you listening? I haven't seen you forever. What's up, Cassie?
She's back.
Billy says, hopeful taste Mario stupidity is that Lightfoot flips to us. Yes, I think that could be a thing. Tyrone, can't believe that Miami game. Love that. Texas, yeah, that Texas game is good. Billy says, maybe KVA flips after he watched the Irish play last night. Flip season is upon us. I don't know if somebody like KVA is going to flip, but Stephen points out that Jeremiah Smith was at the Miami game. You guys do realize that a lot of these guys that are taking visits, like a Jeremiah, are doing it for the cash, right? It's not because they're interested in Miami. I mean, he lives like 30 minutes away, and he's getting at least $5K just to show up. That's a thing. All right. For especially 5-star recruits. Anyway, Billy says, Freeman, you need to become a head coach at FCS or G5 first. I wouldn't argue that. Tyrone says, Tyrone is speaking from the heart of Irish country, so he has his finger on the pulse. He says Notre Dame fans are almost done with Freeman. Billy says, I'm looking like a lost dog on the sideline doesn't help. Hey, Don Warwick is in here. He says, hi, Joe, Jeff, Shawn.
Hey, Mr.
Hey,
Warwick.
Pops. Hey, Pops.
What are all you people expecting from Freeman? Get off of his back.
Probably should.
He's been there
lose
for a
to
cup of
Louisville.
coffee.
Seems like an opponent you shouldn't lose to. Just my thought. But you got a 6-year quarterback. Again, everybody tells me Sam Hartman's, bad motherfucker was going to slay everybody. Yet he's 6 years in college football, didn't go to the league. Said this for a few weeks now, guys. Billy says Jeff is a good guy, but Joe, I don't know. Yeah, you're right, Billy. Steven says our run blocking has to improve. No way a team of Ohio State's caliber should be struggling with run. No, we shouldn't be struggling with that. I think we covered that pretty well. Billy says running game, run blocking has to improve. Hates to say it, but Michigan is looking like a Death Star. Let me know when they play somebody with a fucking pulse, Billy. Honestly.
But true. Yes,
They're
they
taking
haven't
care
shown.
of
They haven't
business
shown.
as they should. Yes, they're not
Yeah.
struggling with the likes of Minnesota and Bowling Green.
And the talent wise, what we know they have, what we know the talent, they have a talent level that's above just about everybody else. Everybody we played, just about everybody in the Big Ten. I'm thinking we have to be a lot better because we're expecting Michigan to be playing at a high level when we go up there this year. Our
Yeah,
offensive line right now,
they've had-
I think
they will have had 11 weeks of practice.
They
there
do
just
go
has
to
be- there has
Happy
to be-
Valley.
we just have to make huge strides, huge jumps in progression. I think you're right, Joe. Look like we were making strides, I think. And I think we did regress. It looked a lot like the Indiana game where linebackers shooting the gaps and we're getting hit at the at the 1 gain, the 1 yard gain mark, and we're getting stuffed and getting to averaging 2.5 a carry or 3.2 a carry or something like that. Yeah.
Do we know what's wrong with Henderson, by the way?
No, it was a game time decision. They could have put him in there, but they might have made it worse. That's what Ryan Day said after the game. The question to the doctors was, if he plays, could he make it worse? The answer was yes. So they're like, all right, we basically saying without saying it, we don't need Trey to win this game. Obviously you want him at 100% peak against Penn State.
Surprised you didn't see Pryor or some of the others.
I don't know what's going on. I think they're trying to redshirt Dallin Hayden. I don't know what's up with Pryor. I wonder if maybe he was never 100% from the knee and they're just holding him out as long as possible. It's just my guess. They tried to say before the season started that the entire team was healthy. I think to some degree, maybe not. Let me finish the chat here and we'll get back on it. Stephen Cherry says defense was great, but our starting linebackers are mid. See this, Stephen, hold on. He says you got to get CJ Hicks in there. All right, let's hold on. There's a reason why CJ Hicks is not playing yet. He's not ready. All right. There's a reason why Cody Simon went in for Steele. Steele was benched late in that game, and Cody Simon went in for Steele. Cody Simon's been there 4 years. CJ Hicks is not ready. I'm telling you, he would play some snaps, if any, if he was ready. He's not. I agree with you that Steele has regressed. All right. I don't know what the problem is. Him and Tommy are having a rough last 2 games for whatever reason. But you know, they had a great year last year, but something has changed. I don't know what. Anyway, got to keep it moving here. Billy says bottom half of the Big Ten is a joke. You could say the same thing about every conference, Billy. SEC, ACC. I mean, ACC, you could say the bottom 3 quarters is a joke. The rest of the conferences, the bottom half is typically garbage. You know, they're propped up by the Ohio States and the Michigans. You know, but they do take their checks and cash them. Those checks still cash. Maryland might beat Penn State, but won't beat Team Up North, says Steven. Billy says the O-line sometimes seems lost on who to block. Yep. Ryan Day's beard is in. Yo, Buckeye Nation, what's up? Ryan Day's beard. RDB. Steven says it's time we have a conversation about Justin Fry. I don't know what you want to do. You gonna fire him mid-season?
Nope, it's just conversation.
Okay.
Like,
What?
hey, well, just like, hey, we expect more. Where's this going? I want a little more, you know, what's
I'm guessing him and Ryan Day have, and Ryan Day's beard, actually, they all 3 probably have a really good conversation. I would be interested in that. Oh, Ryan Day's beard was at the game. Said the crowd was not thrilled. I could see that. Hopefully they
Didn't
were
sound
thrilled
like
in the
it.
4th quarter when we beat them 17-0 in the 4th. But anyway, Billy says for sure after this year, Steven, if things don't improve. Billy says McCord can learn to speed up, but I don't know about O-line. We had running game issues last year with Barris and Dewan. Both are starting the NFL now. Steven says our offensive line also looks undersized to me.
Well, I mean,
haven't
we know
seen
for a
that.
fact that we know that's not true. I mean, we know the size of our guys.
right.
I mean, the measurables are there.
Yeah.
The pad level, but the pad level they play at might not be great.
No,
Yeah.
I saw, and Joe, you gave us the grades on our guards, which was supposed to be our strongest point. You know, our only returning starters from that line. But I saw every one of our linemen getting beat consistently. Inside moves for Josh Fryer around the edge, Josh Fryer, and his guys. That guy's not. That's not a pro. I mean, those guys aren't. There's no hype about anybody on that D line. I don't think, as far as a top level pro prospect. But we're only going to get better lines. We're only going to be facing better defenses. I think there's going to be at least three more defenses better than what we just saw. At least 3. I don't know what Purdue's got defensively, but you know, we'll get
to Purdue.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's obvious. Everybody's saying the same thing. We must improve greatly on the run game, or this could be a 3-loss team. Still, I feel that way. If we don't make the improvements needed, some of the D lines we're going to play can manhandle us.
Well, that's the thing is you're never going to have, you should not, if you have good coaches or even above average coaches, you should not have the same team you have in week 1 as you have in week 12. If you do not progress throughout a year, that's bad coaching. That guy needs to be fired and his entire staff. That's not a problem at Ohio State. But I will say, Ryan Day's beard says it's disheartening that they're still not landing 5-star offensive linemen for the future. Yes, but I will say we did get 3 good ones in this 23 class, and then we got a few more coming in the 24 class. So they might not be 5 stars, but they're happy with the level of player they have. Austin Severell, the other guys, these guys can play, I think, next year. You know, it's rare for an O lineman like a Luke Montgomery this year to crack the starting lineup in any capacity, but he could, I think. He's already played in the Bison package with the extra O lineman. So,
What
Steven
Fryer was
says-
last year.
yeah. So Steven says he's not buying that CJ Hicks is not ready, Joe. Well,
Well,
what other reason would you give for the guy not being on the field? If they're benching
Especially-
Steel Chambers,
yes, exactly. If they're already bringing in a guy to replace a guy that's not as productive, he's not the first one they're bringing in. I think Cody Simon deserves the playing time. I think when he's on the field, he has made plays. So that totally makes sense to me. I'm with you. They're not keeping him back for any other reason, unless it's something personal that they won't let out to the public.
it's not
And something internal. I meant like something internal where he's done something to not, to like get in the doghouse or something that they'll never tell us about. That's what I mean.
Well, I will say
but
maybe going on Instagram Live in the locker room after the Notre Dame game might be frowned upon by the coaches. Just guessing.
Sure, but
we've seen some players get kind of blackballed, DeMario, for going live during a coach's speech.
Yeah.
That is
Probably not a good
ignorant.
thing.
That is ignorant. But I don't think that's going to keep him off the field if he's the best option at a position where we're not getting production. I don't think that would be enough to keep him off completely.
No.
I'm wondering if it is just that, they put in their game plan for the week. They're doing the walkthroughs, and it's Simon behind Steele, and it's Hicks was behind Tommy for this week. And that's just the way it rolled. And it's, all I ever hear is about how complex this defense is, and it takes a while for everyone to get to learn it. CJ Hicks probably doesn't know both spots inside and out. So he probably just knew the one, and just Simon was the guy to go with in that spot, would be my guess. But no grand conspiracy to keep him off. It's just.
Yeah, we have to just go on the assumption that, he's just the other guys. Cody Simon has outperformed him, has earned playing time ahead of him. And that's just, he's not there yet. It's disappointing that a top linebacker in the country, second year guy as a sophomore, still not able to crack the lineup.
There has to be a reason, right? It's not
We only
because-
played two, and one's
Right.
fucking All-American. So.
Right. And the quarterback of the defense.
Yeah.
We're talking about one spot and why this guy can't get on there when you've got some serious veterans that are also really good players. I mean,
and really all we got to do is just keep these guys like CJ Hicks, keep them. They're going to be the needed starters next year. So we just got to keep them from getting too frustrated this year and jumping, and transferring.
No, because Hicks knows that next year it's his.
Yeah,
he's the guy.
But we don't know
gone.
These are young kids, man. They get frustrated without playing time this year. They could get rolled down. Who knows?
These are his dudes, I think.
I hope that's why I hope to think so. Yeah, but I don't know. I
didn't announce the t-shirt winner, did I? No.
Not yet, no.
This week's t-shirt giveaway winner for the Ohio State Maryland game is Todd Doyle. Todd Doyle with 52. Wait. Oh shit, that's wrong. I'm sorry.
Wrong guy. Sorry, Todd.
37-17. Sorry, Todd. Hope you're not listening. No, 37-17 means 54. That means Buckeye 70-84 and Billy Tuesday are the winners.
Oh,
Buckeye 70-84 was had 42-13, and Billy had 38-17. So both came to 55. So yeah.
I thought
Hit
my
me up.
31-24 was going to look good. For a while there, I thought 31-24 was looking good. But
Yeah, well,
congratulations
I probably
to
should
those
point
two.
out that I nailed it right on the number. So nobody's
Nice
sending me a
work.
t-shirt. Yep. Earns me nothing. So Buckeye 784 and Billy, you know what to do. Email me and we'll figure it out. You have to go to the website, pick out a shirt, the name, the color, size, and where you want it sent. And we'll get her out to you. All right. So we touched on a lot of national stuff here early on, just to kind of crack the seal. We hit on pretty much everything in the Maryland game. Do you guys want to give me your grades on offense and defense? Let's start with you, Shawn, on offense.
On offense, I will give you a B minus.
It's not me. I'm not on offense.
I will give you for the offense that you love a fucking B minus.
All right.
Take it.
That's a good grade, actually. I would have expected much worse because of the O-line play.
It was bad, but I'm giving them that B minus because they finished strong, and we kind of worked out there at the end. And McCord, who was shaky, he still needs to clean up a lot of stuff. I mean, you look at some of those underthrown balls. The Fleming would have been a touchdown one that he had to come lay back down for. Marv's early one would have been, and he's got to stop. And to me, it's just McCord's holding it a little bit too long. Trust it, let go of it too late. And
penalties brought back a couple touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And the running
Again.
game, yeah, it's scary. We can't start this way against Penn State. Yeah, we can start this way against Purdue next week. No problem. We could go down 10 to Purdue, and I will not be concerned of that we're going to lose that football game. But if we do that to Penn State, it's a problem. Yeah. So I don't know. They need to come out a little more urgency. I'm glad that you told me that was a fuck up on the punt. I thought we did that.
I wasn't sure at first.
I would have not understood it. It would have not made sense to do that. At your own 30,
opening drive,
35,
yeah,
first quarter.
That's not the side note. What was going on? What was going on with Day and the side judge? What the hell?
There's a major issue going on over there. Oh, by the way, have you ever watched a game that was stopped because of a fucking drone?
Yes, the other day.
And I don't mean the announcers. That was actually fucked up.
Yeah, it was at a high school the other day.
Really?
They got it removed quickly though. I mean, it was within 30 seconds. They got it. They found it, stopped play, got it removed. It was, it was a minute or whatever. It wasn't how did they find out? Who, what, I guess is that a rule that you can't, teams can't use that to spy on other team signals and get that aerial view of the people's
no, I think it's the TV networks. They don't want somebody stealing their footage.
That's true.
Their product is on the field.
They seem to get rid of that thing real quick, though.
Yeah. All right.
I know. How did they do that? What if it was a mile away? I wonder if they got some special drone lasers they knocked that shit down. But what was with the side judge and Ryan Day? I didn't get to watch the game live.
Seemed to have personal beef. That last penalty, I guess it would have been fourth quarter. There was nobody near that ref, so I don't know where that penalty came from.
It looked like he stumbled and thought somebody tripped him. That's what I thought.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he was going to move and he thought somebody made contact with him.
Yeah, that guy had a personal problem. He is called Xavier Johnson for that motion penalty where he's,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it
yeah.
happens every play, dude. When somebody goes in
Yeah.
motion and they look towards the line of scrimmage before they turn, I mean, you could call that all the time.
I
Yeah.
complain about it a lot with watching other teams. I'm like, that dude is moving forward.
It's like
I complain. I see it.
remember,
Yeah,
Arena League football where the
I
dude
was
gets a
watching
20-yard sprint.
I was watching
Right.
the Argonauts the other night.
There you go.
It's crazy.
Canadian ball, yeah. Mhm.
But, yeah, it happens across the country, and even Klatt was quick to say that. He's like, you see this in every game. He's like, that wasn't egregious enough to be called in that instant. But of course it was, because whoever, dude had a hard on for us or whatever.
Well, the Big Ten refs, again, trying to make themselves the star of the show, as they like to do. Again, but
Like
penalties,
Major
you
League
cannot deal with. You cannot have 10 penalties for 80+ yards as a team. They're not all made up,
No.
So that's extremely excessive. You can't have that. But Ryan Day should be running laps right next to the rest of the guys,
Yeah.
because that last one was on him.
That I didn't even
Jeff?
see.
Yeah. Jeff, what do you got on the offense for a grade?
Oh, like a 74%, C minus, solid C, whatever. In the first half would have been a D minus.
Yeah.
Overall, the O-line didn't. I don't know. They had plenty of issues. The play calling to the execution to the penalties to missing assignments, bad passes, lack of running stability, lack of getting in a I guess in a mode of running. Getting into a zone of a rhythm. I guess is the best word.
Rhythm was the issue
rhythm
in the
ring.
first half. Not just passing
nothing,
or not just running, but the offense was way out of rhythm.
Yeah, we finally get a stop on Maryland, and then we get the ball back, and it's 3 and out.
Right.
Like, not building and not being able to build on any type of momentum that the defense was able to give us. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with the C. Really, the first half leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Second half, I mean, whatever happened at halftime, I can venture a guess at what happened at the halftime to come out and score 27-7, outscore the opponent to get the job done, and especially in the fourth quarter to go 17-0. I am sure that the coaches were stripping the paint off the walls in that locker room. Definitely not words for my virgin ears, but I go C just because they were able to pull trash out of the fire in the second half. Shawn, let's go with you on defense. What do you have for a grade?
Defense, I've got to give the defense a B+. Maryland is a good team. They are.
Yeah.
And completely underrated, completely screwed before we played them. Tagliavola, like you said, he's gonna do him, but he's dynamic. He can run around. He'll make some plays, but he is gonna probably throw some picks. But to hold that guy down, the only touchdown they had, that first one, I mean, the coverage was right there. Unison was on it, and I don't know why he stayed on top of him. It's like, dude, he caught it. Okay.
Just let it go, yeah. The guy caught it with his left hand too, one-handed.
And I forget what play it was, but late in that game, Tumalo made another big play that basically iced it. There was plenty of time left, but it's like, that was game over. JT
Right.
coming up big again. So that's good to see. I feel like we're progressing a little bit with that pass rush and making it difficult. And again, Talia is a mobile dude. Tough to corral, but we did a nice job, except for the touchdown.
Gotcha. What do you got, Jeff, on defense?
B+. The first touchdown.
Samesies?
That's a killer when you muff a punt, and they're looking at the 27, 28-yard line, and it had good coverage on the touchdown, like we just said. And another long catch down the field on Styles. Styles was in great coverage. Just a perfectly placed ball. I made some plays when we needed to, got the pick six. Josh Proctor, very nice score on defense. That's always a big bump. Really, we needed that. That was the only type of momentum we had early. So yeah, B plus. I mean, still give up a lot on the ground, first half especially. But overall, we finished less than 200 yards passing, some sacks, turnovers, less than what they have 110 or something rushing, something like that. So
Yeah,
played much better in the second half.
Proctor,
yeah,
what
we
a
held them to
freaking
300 yards total, 200 through the air, 100 on the ground.
Yeah. And I think Talia's probably I think he's a better quarterback than Hartman. I think he's the best quarterback we've seen yet.
More dangerous, I would say, yeah, especially with his
Sure.
feet. We saw that.
Gave us more of a threat.
Yeah.
But we got better
I'm
ones to
going-
see too. We got better ones coming.
Yeah, I got A minus. I'm going to go a little above you guys, just because all the shit that the defense had to deal with the RPOs, a mobile quarterback that can scamper for some first downs when he has to. He's relatively smart, except for that last drive of the first half. But I blame that on his head coach as well. But Talia does not suck. But you can always pencil him in for a couple turnovers, and you can always pencil in Loxley for a coaching blunder here and there. But I'm going A minus. We got pressure on the quarterback from the front four without blitzing. Keep that in mind, without blitzing. And
We got
then
a little bit.
the secondary. What's that?
We got a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of times
We got
didn't
pressure,
get
man.
much
I'm
of
telling
it.
you, dude. JT led the team with 6 pressures on his own. Got that sack. Michael Hall Jr. had 5. When you're getting that pressure from inside the D line, that's huge. He had a sack, a hit. Who else? Tyleek had a couple pressures. So when you're getting pressure from the front forward and the secondary is playing like that, the safeties and the corners, it doesn't matter what the fucking linebackers are doing, honestly. That's coverage and rush working together. So I go A minus. Let's talk MVPs quickly, and then we'll get into our Purdue breakdown for next Saturday. Shawn, hit me up with your MVPs, offense and defense, please.
Oh, it's Marv. I mean, it's the Gus Johnson Marvelous Marvin show. Those, again, if he isn't underthrown, that one's going to be a touchdown. That catch that he makes on the sideline with, I don't know how he stays in, is just totally ridiculous. That other catch that he makes running up the sideline, everybody else would have jumped up and caught that ball and did something, but he caught that in such a way that he keeps his momentum going and moving.
Right.
But to me, Marv is just putting on a freaking show. And then the touchdown, and it's on and on with that dude.
Oh, yeah, he had to score that touchdown twice, didn't he?
Yeah.
At least he gave him the silencer twice.
Yeah, he did.
That was nice. That was nice.
Yeah. What do you got on defense, Shawn?
On defense, I'll go JT. Like I said, he was disruptive as heck. I think they credited him with the sack and a half. Making big plays. I think he had another tipped the ball in there somewhere as well, and was hustling, man. He was all over the place. JT, that's my guy.
Gotcha. He had 3 stops as well. Jeff, what do you got? Offense and defense both.
Offensively, Marv, obviously, the only one that was, hands down the most productive, and really got us going when we. Marv on offense for sure. That's no brainer. Defense, I mean, if you wanted to go look at Michael Hall, Denzel Burke, which one do you want, Joe? I'll take the other one. Denzel's still playing like a shutdown corner. I'll give it to Mike Hall for getting. I thought he had the best performance of the down lineman. JT made the big play at the end, obviously, and showed I just wish we saw that flash a little more often. And you said you got pressures. You're right, Joe. He was getting in the backfield, but finishing that play, making a big stop. I wish we saw it more often from him throughout the game. But I'll go Mike Hall on the interior.
The only negative about Michael Hall is he got charged with that roughing the quarterback that extended a drive.
And those are going to happen. It's not, but I don't always mind. If you're going to get a good lick on the quarterback, sometimes it's worth it. You know what I mean? If you're just going to do some bullshit and then just because, if you're going to do it, make sure it's worth it. You know what I mean? Get a good smack on him. If you're going to hit him late, or you're gonna follow
it's
through
so
on
tough.
taking him down.
That was not egregious.
Tommy Eichenberg had a play just like that. I thought there was I was waiting for the penalty to come out where he hit.
The ref said something to him.
Yeah. And
I was like,
Tommy's
no.
But yeah, I mean,
those quarterbacks.
You got to hit the quarterbacks. You got to keep pressure on the quarterback. So some of those.
You got to remember they're not a regular football player. You can't just push them.
Right.
Apparently, I mean. Anyway, I'm going to go with Kyle for my offensive MVP. Started off sluggish, but check out these numbers. First half, 8 of 16 for 126. Then second half, though, he fucking cranked it up. 11 of 14, 194, 2 touchdowns. That is getting it done when your team needs you, and ends up with 320 through the air. And obviously the 2 touchdowns, 19 of 29 for a 66% completion percentage. I'll take that. Doesn't matter. If you do it in 1 half or 2 halves, you got the job done. And then on defense, it's a layup for me. Proc. How do you not go with Proc?
Of course. I
Pick
know,
6 Proc. Right?
No, 100%.
Dude had a ball game, not just on the pick 6, but
tackle for loss.
He was in this game. A tackle for 2-yard gain, 4-yard gain, -1. Made a tackle in the secondary, then -1 and a 2. Mix in the pick 6, which he did not drop, and I'm very proud of him for that. So those are our MVPs. Anything else you want to cover before we get into this Purdue kickoff? Did we get everything? We talked drones. We talked O-line that is
O-line
trash.
inefficiencies.
Defense that is good, except for linebackers. Marv. So we talked aliens, drones. Anything else?
No,
penalties.
on to
We
Purdue.
talked penalties, 10 penalties. I
Third
think I
down
might have had a
conversions.
penalty.
I mean,
I felt like I was charged with a penalty.
I mean, I'm not on board necessarily with banging on our linebackers. Why? They were held to 3 yards rushing.
Yeah, 3 per attempt. And there's just certain drives. They had certain drives where they had success running the ball, but then
Tommy had 13 freaking tackles.
I think the main issue, Steele got benched. The main issue is in coverage. They're having challenges again. This is 2 games in a row. And Steele admitted to it in interviews this past week that, they were looking at the wrong things or reacting to the wrong things. But Tommy played 74 snaps. Proctor, I think the total snaps on defense were 77. So Tommy played 74, Steele 59. And I mentioned earlier, Cody came in. Cody played 21. I think he mixed in at when they went with a 3 linebacker set. Cody came in as a Sam. But the linebackers are not grading it out well, Shawn. I don't know how else to explain it. Eichenberg, this is in coverage. Eichenberg graded at a 58.5. Steele a 58.4. So
and that's showing up to offense coordinators still left on our schedule. They're all going to target those guys in coverage. You know,
They graded out terribly against Notre Dame as well.
Yeah,
but against a run defense, Eichenberg was a 77-8, which is good. But Steele in run was the worst on the team this week.
Wow.
56.
So he's bad. So he's bad at pass and run now.
Seemingly, I don't know. I can't explain it, man. I hate to see it. They did, this is just this week though. I'm shocked.
Well, if his play is falling off considerably and he is taking steps back, I do feel that linebacker with Hicks and Simon is one of our I think we have guys that are, unlike the O-line where there might not be, the backups aren't nowhere near the level to step in. I think our linebackers are right up there at that level. So I don't think we could see, last 4 or 5 games of the season, we could see TJ Hicks or Cody Simon, balling out completely.
Right.
It'd be nice to hear the coaches talk about, Hicks, somebody on the defensive staff talking Hicks's lack of playing time, why is he, has Cody Simon just passed him on, kept ahead of him on the depth chart, and that's just the way it is. But we all expected to see CJ Hicks on the field somewhere, somehow this year, and the coaches were even saying that before the year started. We got to figure out a way to get him on the field. I heard Knowles saying that verbatim. He's gonna play. We got to get him on the field. Those are his words.
Right. And maybe that's something that's going to happen this next week. Maybe, maybe you start splitting reps. I don't know. Just checking on the chat here. It's quieted down quite a bit. Ryan Day's Beard says offense C, defense B plus. Billy says the long 4th down conversion was a beautiful pass and catch. Yep. Randy's Beard says whatever they're saying at halftime needs to be said before the first quarter. That was atrocious. I'm fine with that, but seems like they would be giving good speeches before the game. Sound like they're handing out pillows. Billy says the key to beating Michigan will be to shut down their run and make JJ have to pass. Our run defense is the weakest part of our D. Randy's Beard. I laughed at the narrative on the headlines after the game. Ohio State survived a scare. Last time I checked, the game was 4 quarters and they won by 3 scores covering your spread, but that was scary. I agree with you, Randy's Beard. People do like ESPN, for example. They like to paint narratives that grab headlines, otherwise known as clickbait.
Yes.
Billy says Georgia had a bigger scare against Auburn last week. They were still number 1. We moved up a spot this week with our scare. Weird.
Yeah, exactly. and Georgia said like Georgia pulls ahead, pulls away late.
Right. Right. We won the second half 27-7, and specifically the 4th quarter 17-0. But that was a scare.
And we only moved up because Texas lost.
Yeah,
exactly. That's why we moved up, because the team right in front of us lost.
Hey, at least Oklahoma didn't leapfrog us, right?
Where'd they at? I didn't look at the whole rank. Where'd they move up to? They were at 14 going into the day. They got to be top 10. I mean,
they're 5. We're
5 behind. Okay.
I go by the AP.
Yeah, they're 5 and perfect. 7 in the coaches.
Yeah, there you go. Then you got Florida State at 4, Michigan 2, Georgia 1.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hop into this Purdue pre-gamer. This is a nooner on the cock. That's what she said, and that's what she's going to do. It's a nooner on the cock. So get your Peacock subscriptions up.
I think I got to log in somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make some calls.
There you go.
I'm gonna have to go somewhere.
Yeah,
what?
I have every other streaming service you could goddamn want, but I'm not getting another one just for Purdue. I'll make some calls.
This isn't on YouTube TV.
No.
YouTube TV is just like cable, or just like regular cable, man. It's like You don't get any special. You don't get Paramount Plus, Peacock, none of those. It's just
Well, see,
I got
if
YouTube.
you're a fan of The Office, then you would have the Peacock app, but obviously you're not.
That's already on Netflix and all that, and I think we actually own it, all of that anyway.
Oh, okay.
My
No
family's
need.
no less than watched that front to back 4 times.
Oh, see, I would get along well with your family, just not you.
No, they'd hate you too. They're cool.
Yeah.
So they're on the Peacock. We gotta try to, they've already had Michigan on there. We gotta drive subscription, so they gotta put us in Michigan, the big dogs, on there at least once a year to drive.
Did Michigan
to
have
get
2 in a
subscriptions.
row?
They were on NBC last week
Oh,
or
NBC.
yesterday.
All right, my bad.
They were
I
on the
might have
regular.
to head down
the
to
regular.
DraftKings down the street.
There you go. So they were on the big cock and the little cock, huh? That's just what I would picture for Michigan. All right. So the Buckeyes coming to noon.
They've been
Ross
around
Aid
the cock a couple
Stadium.
times.
Plenty. Look at JJ that way with that haircut. Honestly. West Lafayette, Indiana. This is the last time I'll say that this year. I guarantee you that. Purdue 2-4, 1-2 in the Big Ten. Last year, though, they were 8-6, 6-3 in the Big Ten. They lost in the Big Ten championship game. A lot of people forget that they were in the Big Ten championship game. Got smoked by Michigan,
right?
obviously. Yeah.
So
Then
embarrassing.
they lost
That's
in
so
the
embarrassing.
Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl. Jeff, you should have been there.
It was Purdue, and I said, "Fuck that."
Yeah, nobody wants to go to that part of town, anyways. So, new head coach Ryan Walters, year 1, was the former DC for Burt Bielema over there in Illinois.
And that's their one win. They demolished Illinois.
Mhm.
That's their one Big Ten win, which isn't saying much. I'm not saying that as a warning sign or anything.
Let's brag. Let's brag about that.
What kind of offense they running this year? I've not watched any 1 ounce of Purdue
Hasn't
at all.
changed much, honestly. They do have
From what Braun was running.
Yeah, they do have Hudson Card at quarterback, so you've heard of him.
Former
Still
Texas guy, right?
waiting for that guy to actually put it all together. Returning production, 51% overall, 50% on offense, 52% on defense. That's ranked 109 in the country in returning production. So not great, Bob. Offense, 6 starters coming back. You got Phil Steele's position rankings in his top 60. They have none position groups on offense. None in the top 60. 0.
That sounds right.
0.
Coming off a Big Ten West
I thought
champion
they had
team last
a
year.
pretty good
Lord.
receiver that was putting up some decent numbers.
Rondale Moore.
That's the previous 6 years, Shawn. They've always had one guy, David Bell, or they've had one guy the last 6 years. They don't have him anymore.
This Burks
all ran
guy,
out.
he's got
Yeah.
he's got 1 less reception than Harrison and about 400 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, you got Burks here. You got TJ Sheffield. Those are probably the best wide receivers they got. Then this Abdur-Rahman Hassan. Might want to check his background there. Anyway, Burks has the 4 TDs on the team. Only 6 touchdown receptions as a team. Not great. Hudson Card, 6 TDs, 5 picks. He's taken a boatload of sacks too, 14. So there will be opportunities here for the Buckeye defense, in my opinion, early and often. Running backs, nothing special here. You got Tyrone Tracy, you got Devin Maccabee. These guys, they punched it in. So you got like 9 TDs with those 2 guys. But but it seems like from what I watched the Iowa game, the condensed version, not the complete, 3-hour version, because my
Okay,
stomach can
how
only
can
take so much.
no kidding?
Yeah.
How could you? I wouldn't even dare to turn on Iowa Purdue.
That was
Good
a nail
Lord.
biter, actually. You'd be surprised.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It seems like
and
we should be we're an advantage everywhere across the field, offense, defense. It should be like another. It should be. It's over. It's the matchup is not fair. It's very lopsided all across the board. Correct.
Side note, I did not know that Iowa's quarterback was an offensive lineman. Cade McNamara is injured, and some dude named Deacon Hill is their quarterback. This guy is a big son of a bitch, 6'3", 258.
Yeah.
Yes. I was watching that. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? He's not even wearing a rib protector. Doesn't need it. Anyway,
Good Lord.
that was entertainment, not in a good way. So looking at these guys, you're not going to get any flash or pizzazz here looking at their national rankings, 63rd in yards per game on offense, yards per play, 83rd. So a lot of work to get nowhere is basically how this team operates. Rushing yards. I did want to check the rushing yards because, 71st, 141 yards per game. So offensively, there's nothing to really concern yourself with. Hudson Card will scramble around and then he'll kind of run into a sack or just whip it. He made some incredibly stupid throws when he was on the run and just like threw these flailing ducks into guys' arms. It was not worth watching. Again. So let's look at their defense here. I don't want to spend too much time on this fucking team. We're going to get right into our scores and our microscopes. You know what I'm saying. So I just wanted to pull up some of their shit here on defense because this is going to be the only challenge for the Buckeyes watching what our team did last week. So they're allowing 28 points per game, 73rd in the country. We should do fine with that. And then rushing yards per game, they're allowing 155. That's 75th in the country. Again, middle of the pack, bottom half, whatever. 226 through the air, that is 54th. Sacks per game, this is where they're actually decent. They're 22nd in the country, getting 3 sacks per game. And then takeaways, they're in the bottom half here, 89th, 1.2 takeaways. Not that the Buckeyes are any better. And then red zone scores, they're allowing 3.2. That's 78th in the country. So both sides of the ball equally unimpressive. I do need to find the spread here.
ESPN has
19.5, 52.
Caesars
Same
as
as
20.
Maryland, right?
Caesars as 20, 51.5.
All right.
Okay. And it's probably going to fluctuate another half point, maybe a full point or two. I mean,
Oh yeah, the
Maryland
weather
started out at 21.5, I
issue.
think, didn't they?
I saw some weather possibly being an issue, obviously out in the middle of cow pasture. Oh yeah, I got a 56 degrees and a high chance of rain daily. Come on,
Yeah.
fucking ads.
The matchup that we're looking at should not be, we shouldn't, if they're struggling, if there's struggles from us against their defense or them moving the ball on us, none of that should be weather related. Plenty of teams can blow other teams out that are considerably better than, with bad weather or good weather.
I mean, we got to jump on these guys right away, and I feel really concentrate and work on this running game.
Yeah.
We got Penn State coming up. We got to figure it all out. This is, no
Yeah.
more messing around here. I mean, Notre Dame wasn't messing around, and I know Joe thinks they're bums, but I still think they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to. It sounds like, and this isn't the first time this year that we've looked at, run defenses that we're going against. We're like, okay, this is a get right confidence building game, for the run game, and we come out flat, or we're averaging, we get maybe 160-yard run like against Notre Dame, and then we're averaging 2.5 yards every play after that. We got to be able to consistently. That old line's got to. They got to. Those PFF grades, Joe, were disgusting for a run game. They got to get better. They got to all be above average in this game to have any type of confidence going into Penn State, and giving Penn State something to look at as far as them needing to stop our run. And the passing game's McCord's only gonna feel better passing the ball if we have a running game going. Everything's based off the run game first and foremost.
I wonder what I wonder what it looks like. The run game this week. Is Henderson back? Is it still the Trainum show? Is it more Mayan Williams? Do we see Hayden? Do we see Pryor?
Yeah.
I didn't think Mayan looked. He ran hard, but I don't think Mayan's looks healthy. I saw him after a lot of plays in a huddle, wincing, kind of hobbling a little. I don't know. I don't think Mayan's been 100% yet this
He looked
year.
fine in the fourth quarter, but up until this point this season, I have not seen the normal Mayan. I don't know what's going on with him, but in the fourth quarter, he put his helmet right into the chest of a DB.
Yeah.
Number 26. Yeah, 26 did not want to play
that guy
after that.
was feeling it.
Yeah.
He did not want to be on that field. So, yeah. I think we have the ability to do whatever we want against his defense. And I don't think the elements are going to be a problem. I got a 57 degrees, 15-mile-an-hour winds. Chance of rain is there, but it's only like a quarter inch of accumulation. So they do have a grass field, so they're probably going to let that shit grow out. We're going to be seeing a wheat field out there with chalk lines. So, but that should not stop whatever we want to do, right?
Yeah, no excuses. If they put, if they grow the grass long, it's wet, it's raining, it's windy, the throwing game is not ideal, kind of like that Northwestern game last year, where it's just dangerous to throw the ball. We should still be able to run for over 200 yards. There's no we couldn't pass the ball and we didn't really know what to do after that, so we tried to patchwork the run game. Bullshit. Line up.
We just looked at the stats. They are mediocre at everything.
Yeah. I don't want to hear, half our offense was taken away. So what? We're that much better. We should show we're that much better. If we got to run the ball 40 times, run the ball 40 times for 220, 250. We should still be able to do that. There should be no excuses. No excuses. And I hope we do really concentrate on the run game. I quit worrying about number of plays. Worry about how many yards we're getting on the plays we do get.
Yeah. All right. So let's pop into our score predictions here. Let's start with you, Shawn. What do you got with the spread of 19.5 over under 52?
Under 52. I haven't done the math yet. But just a quick do it. I got the cover and the under with 38-7.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to be able to get much going. They'll probably get touchdown somewhere along the way. I hope we get the ground game going. I feel like we need a 200 yards on the ground game right now.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping happens.
All right. Jeff, what do you got?
You said 52 is the total.
Yeah.
51.5, whatever.
Buckeyes nailed the spread this week. FYI.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 34-13.
Oh,
I'm not giving us our offense too much credit until I see improvement in that O line. And prove to me that we can run the ball for 200 yards, when we have to, or when weather dictates it, or just because we're better than the other team. So we got the under. So taking the under and.
Okay, I'm going to go 45-13. I think the offense, this is a get right game, although I hope it's not fool's gold for the following week, which we have seen before. So Buckeyes offense does what it wants. Purdue just has to lay back and take it. And then on defense, I think you will get maybe a big play here or there. But if you notice, this Buckeye defense, even though the coaches don't want to say it or admit to it, this is a bend but don't break defense. They're calling.
That's what they were talking about during the, even during the cast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Jim Knowles and Ryan Day do not want to admit to calling this a bend but don't break, but they're not blitzing as much. They're getting guys to the ground before they create big plays.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call that? Anyway, I don't care what you call it. It's getting the job done. Buckeyes are in the top 5 in the country in scoring and in yards per game. They're in the top 10. So I'm good with it. Whatever you guys want to call it, I don't give a shit.
Right, and it's neat. I think it was made very clear we can't give up. The big plays was the downfall of us last year.
Yeah,
eliminate giving up those big plays. How by whatever means necessary. I think we're getting better play from our defensive backs as well. The safeties feel a lot more comfortable. Lathan Ransom looks more comfortable when he's not in coverage. I love that dude in run support. Sonny Styles, Proctor, they're playing better. Their corners
making
look better.
Him some money this year.
Yeah, and then Denzel's playing like we saw him his
too.
freshman year, where we thought All-American, shut down corner. Igbinosun, he's aggressive. I still like his play. And we don't have guys come in there just not knowing what the fuck is going on.
I'm glad they didn't peg him with that fucking blindside block on the Proctor return for a touchdown. Right. Did you see that shit? Are you serious? Come on, man. How do you even throw that flag?
As soon as that flag came out,
that's the same official, guys. That's the same official that was calling those sideline warnings.
That makes you wonder, who's this guy laying on?
Exactly. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
He had a major problem with that Ohio State sideline all day. He was calling everything he could. Anyway, so I think Buckeyes do what they want. You're going to give your obligatory 13 points to kind of a high throwing, offense. But let's get into our microscope. Shawn, what do you got? Offense and defense.
Offense and defense.
Yes,
my microscope is on just Jimmy Simmons. This needs to be fixed. Or maybe I'll watch him for the bench. Maybe they are fixing it. But something needs to be done and done quickly. I don't know if Purdue. You said Purdue's actually they are decent at sacks. So maybe there will be a little test. But I like you said, this could be fool's gold where he could come out and look, serviceable against Purdue. And then you get the Penn State with the upgrade in talent and then the linebacker blitzing schemes and everything that goes with it.
We've fallen for it before. Like we go out and smoke Michigan State, then the next week we lose to Michigan. That's what I'm concerned about.
But it needs to get better. So I mean, I'll take the fool's gold over nothing. Let me see some improvement, or something's got to be there. So yeah, I'm looking at that O-line because that's the deficit right now.
Yeah. Defense, what do you got?
Defense, let me go back to back with my boy JT. You say these guys also give up some sacks. I think JT is kind of starting to peak, if you will. I think he's played a really good last 2 games. I think he keeps that motor going, and I expect to see another sack and a half out of him and some more disruption.
Okay. Like it. Jeff, what do you got? Offense and defense.
Okay, Shawn went left tackle. I'll go left guard, Donovan Jackson.
Oh,
I mean, it's all 5 of them. I'm just going down the line.
Right.
If Shawn happened to start at left tackle, I'm just going down the line. Get it together. Those grades are putrid. It's simple as that. O-line, run the ball. They got to improve. Serious microscopes. Defense, Tommy Eichenberg, you're the leader of this defense. Show us. Play like a All-American linebacker. We used to have a bunch of them. They played a lot better than you do. Show me something, Tommy Eichenberg.
Damn.
Like it. I'm gonna go Kyle. I think let's see Kyle get some consistency going. I do want to tell you guys something. I pulled up photographs of Kyle in the last 3 games here against Maryland, Notre Dame, and then against Western Kentucky. His ankles are severely wrapped in tape in the last 2 games against Notre Dame. So let me go. This is Maryland. So he has some heavy wrapping on his ankles against Maryland and Notre Dame. It's black, so it kind of blends in with his shoes, but it's obvious in these photographs if you guys want to see them. Or you could just believe me. But then against Western Kentucky, what was that, week 3? No wrap, no ankle tape, nothing.
Okay, well,
maybe that's where he heard it, and he's like, "All right, fuck that. I'm keeping this on there. I don't want to tweak that anymore."
So I wonder if that's affecting his throws. Obviously, you use your legs, to really drive the ball. Remember, he's been his time not for timing. Timing was off last week. Not because of his feet or nothing, but like that deep ball to Marv, where Marv had to wait on it. That deep crosser to Fleming, where Fleming had to slide and catch it, to keep it from hitting the ground this week. Maybe he's not getting that drive, that push, So that's a concern of mine.
All the more reason to run the ball 40 times.
Yeah, and so I went Zabruder style on these photos, and that's what I came up with. Anyways, Kyle is my guy on offense to hopefully get your ankles healthy, and then B, lead the offense starting in the first quarter, because he's done well in the first quarter, first drives and stuff. So then defense, I'm kind of up in the air, honestly. Kind of kicking around a couple ideas. I wanted to go.
There's names though that we don't hear very much of during the game.
Yeah.
You don't. There's gonna be long stretches where you don't hear Jack Sawyer's name. I see him do a lot of good things though. He doesn't make a lot of plays, but he's in position. He's doing what he's supposed to do.
He sets
to
the
help
edge.
someone else make a play. So
Yeah,
I'm not
everybody
so much.
Everybody. I mean, you could take damn near anyone.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to
overall,
go
the defense is playing well.
This Purdue team is going to throw the ball a lot, and IGB has been kind of the target in most games. And Denzel, I'm not worried about him. He's got his position on lock. Whoever he's on, that person's probably not going to have a day. But IGB can get a little handsy, a little rough. And then,
He does get a little rough.
It's fine. I mean, you can't take it away. You can't stop him from doing it. But then,
as long as it's not hurting you in key spots.
He's the most targeted on the team. So that means he's got to step up more than everybody because he's being
Sure.
targeted every time.
playing
So
opposite
I'm
the
going IGB.
shutdown corner. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. And we saw a little bit more Jordan Hancock this game. Nobody like
slot,
last year.
yeah.
You saw a lot of guys coming in because the injuries. Denzel was out, knocked. It was Hancock injured, and Denzel was battling with stuff. And we saw just a rotation of guys, and I didn't see any of them that I was happy with. The young freshmen, any of them. So
Right.
we're not seeing those guys this year. We're getting good play out of just about everybody. I like Igbenogsen's. I like his aggressiveness and his push that line, kind of like that Damon Arnett. As long as it doesn't get to a point where you're big moments and big games, you're losing your head and making some stupid penalties.
You don't want to become the guy that refs are looking for.
Right.
I felt
and I
like,
don't think he. I don't.
Like Damon Arnett was that
Yes.
guy that refs were like, well, watch this motherfucker,
Yeah. We know this guy's going to be talking. We know this guy's going to be after every
Yeah.
play. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. All right. Heading back to the chat here. We got some scores coming in. Billy has a 42-13. Ryan Days Beard 38-14. Don Warwick has 41-10. Ryan Days Beard says Henderson is back. They say he'll play. Yes, he will.
Oh, is that what they're saying? I was gonna ask you. I mean, I
Yeah.
would put a microscope on a running back, but who's it gonna be?
Well,
Henderson's back.
Trey will start, it looks like. That's what Ryan Day said after the game. He just was held out because it was a game time decision. They didn't
Trey
want to
and
make
Chip,
the
I mean-
injury worse.
Chip, and Chip, I think is a good off speed from Trey. I think he's a lot that we can use against some of those more equal teams, the Michigan, Penn States. Get that bruising, pounding, and plus he's fast as shit. I mean, but he can run between the tackles and hammer people, and then the good off speed with Trey. My end doesn't look right to me. I don't know what, like Evan Pryor and Dallin. I don't know what they're doing with those two. So we can't say we're microscoping them. Any of those five with strong old line play will look like an All-American because of the talent differential. So it doesn't really matter if those five up front are not doing what they're supposed to do, none of them look good. You know what I mean? So it's all the old line. It's all the old line getting back to the progress they were making at one point this year.
Mhm.
You can't be regressing, and just so many missed blocks and mental errors and penalties. It has to be a clean game. They have to get clean.
Jeremiah has 47-6.
Ooh,
Billy says, I
That'd be
want you to
nice.
get the shirt this week, Jeremiah. He might.
yeah. I would be happy to see us
I don't trust
47
those
on the road.
wins. I don't trust the wins of mid Indiana to kick 2 field goals. Maybe that's a miss extra point.
Yeah, and let's hope there's no game day specials about a trainer that was dying from some incurable disease this year. Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Ever since I watched that morning, I was nervous. I was nervous for us that game, and sure as shit.
Well, I don't think that this is a game to be worried about personally, regardless of what ESPN wants to trot out there. But at least what's his name? Tom, the guy that did
Rinaldi.
these stories. He's
Rinaldi.
over at Fox now.
Yeah, where's Big Noon at this week?
No, I don't know.
Where are they going to? I know they're not going to West Lafayette, but probably Colorado. Are they checking on Colorado anymore? Oh, I haven't heard from Colorado lately. Did they play
They
this weekend?
pulled one out.
I didn't know.
Kicker pulled one out this week, but yeah.
Is it
Right.
is it USC Notre Dame or no?
Mm-mm.
Like
No.
maybe I feel like Oregon. I feel like there's another big game this week somewhere somehow.
It's
Maybe
probably Big
Oregon
12.
USC.
See anything?
They won't play those games at
Oregon,
noon out west.
Washington.
Oregon Washington. That's a nice game.
Oh,
Oh.
USC Notre Dame. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
That is
That's an
this
NBC
week.
game though. That's NBC.
Yeah, it's prime time. That'll be prime time.
Yeah. So yeah, then the game that Fox or ESPN would go to is probably Oregon, Washington. That's
I
on
would
ABC.
think.
Yeah.
But that's probably a night kick.
3:30.
Oh yeah. Also, it's a 12:30 their time kick. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
At Seattle. All right, folks. We appreciate everybody joining us. Jeff, Shawn, appreciate you.
Yeah, bro.
go Buckeyes.
Talk to you later.
Get our shit together. Later, boys.
Go Bucks.